You're on.
Greetings, sports lovers, Dakar lovers, and others. It's day 11, it's Tuesday, it's stage 12, and you're not Gary.
No, you're Zoey Evans.
Joey is, I've got goosies and chills going down here. Zoey Evans is a South African who had a bit of an adventure at Dakar. And we're going to touch on, I know nothing about motorbikes. Joey knows a whole bunch about motorbikes, and it's actually quite pertinent when it comes to our theme for today. Every day we have a theme, you know. And by the way, production, executive producer, catering. Did the limo pick you up okay?
Perfect, it was fantastic. You know, right after the jet landed, they were there. It was
and
incredible.
Catering, they looked after you.
Oh, it's been fantastic.
I'm glad to see you.
You can see catering looked after me.
We've got standards here, Joey. No, but you're looking fit as a robber.
Yeah.
Robber's dog. Catering, we've got standards. We need to live up to it.
Yeah,
so
you could call it that.
Executive producer, thank you very much. So the title today is Two. It's about two wheels, too close, too much, too little. And it's either with a TWO or TOO, depending on how you go. Let's just back up a little bit into talking point yesterday. No racing yesterday. It was wet, wet, wet. And everybody kind of had a day off, and there was the hearing. And we're going to get to some super interesting stuff. I'm so glad that you're here. I really, really am. So there's a hearing, and the facts as we know it, and there are 17 sides to the story. We're not going to go there. Saints and Kees Koolen, who, by the way, is not an idiot. He's the 2017 European World Rally Cross champion on a quad. This guy knows how to ride a quad. There's an allegation they touched each other. Long story. The ultimate end of it is that Carlos gets a 10-minute penalty and the race goes on. Carlos is furious, and the bikes go into a marathon stage today, and the cars end up on their way to Berlin. So it's Berlin. There's a 373k special. There's a 424k liaison. But that's the kind of, there's all sorts of poo flying around there. But Joey has written a book. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And I want to show you a picture. And in particular, it's this picture here. Joey, that's your bike. It's got smashed up.
Yeah.
So, you going along, and just like this whole incident comes along, Sentinel goes off. What happened?
Yeah. Look, it's tricky, man. It's always tricky. Now, the Sentinel thing, it's a brilliant system. The way it works is the guy in the car or the truck, they see your dust, they press a button, it sends off a siren on your bike, and you know there's someone behind you who's going to get past. Realistically, the guy gives you plenty time to get out the way because it suits him. He can race past quick. And for you as a biker, you're like, I choose life and I'm going to get out the way. And you
what do you mean
exactly
you choose
that.
life?
Well, these guys are coming through, and a lot of times cars and trucks, obviously they're way bigger than you. You know, they worry about dinging their bumper and stuff, and you worry about going home to your wife. So you're different levels here. So you want to get the hell out the way, and you want this guy to get past and get away from you. There's no like, you're not racing the guy, there's nothing like that. So normally the guys, especially the top guys, are normally the best at this. You know, it's normally the guys further back in the field that are a bit dodgy with stuff. But the top guys, normally they'll buzz you. You turn around, you look at the guy, he's 200 meters back. You pull to the side, something that I always used to do because I saw another couple of riders do it. They put up their hand. So you pull to the side, you stop, you put up your hand like this. The car guy knows that you know he's there. He comes flying past, just straight past. You check, wait for the dust to clear, make sure it's in two together because you'll only get one signal even if there's two. And you make sure no one else is coming. You get back in the track, back on the gas, and you're racing again. That is a typical scenario.
And how often does that happen in a normal stage?
For the top guys, very seldom. For someone like me, a lot. So I was overtaken by cars and trucks every day. Every day, you know, it would have happened over Dakar probably a couple hundred times.
Okay, so let's go back.
Yeah.
You're riding along and you hear the buzz from Sentinel.
That's right. So on that day, that was the second last day of Dakar last year, day 12 of 13. At that point in time, I had 660 kilometers to still cover. I had a couple prangs the previous day. I was stone last in the bike category, literally the last biker. And my siren goes off. On the little screen it comes up saying car or truck. The siren goes off. I turn around expecting to see this car the normal 200 odd meters back, and the guy's 30 meters behind me and he's doing double my speed. And so
And what sort of speed are you doing?
I was probably going, if I had to guess, maybe 40 k's an hour, 40, 50. I was in a deep rut. There was 2 ruts kind of going through what would have been a very wet area at some point. These 2 ruts full of fish now. And so you can't see how deep they are.
Fish is, we had a discussion early on, that's like the super soft fine
Yeah,
sand.
fish, it's like cement powder. It's just really like that. So you can't see how deep this rut is. So as a biker, you're riding along, it's like, whoa, deep, shallow, there's something in the rut. And so you can't go fast, and you can't ride on the middle island because it's so steep. And then there's vegetation.
You said Manaki there.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the middle Manaki. There you go. And then there's vegetation that's coming up and touching the side. So you can't ride out of it. You have to be in one of the tracks. You pick left or right and you just go as fast as you can, which is sort of 40, 50 k's an hour. But these guys in the cars, they just put both their wheels in those ruts and they just give it horns because they don't care, the suspension's going, and so in that terrain they can do more than double our speed. So you got this guy going way fast. I turn around, I see this guy, and just like a bicycle next to a curb or something, you can't just turn up the curb. You got to stop, get the front wheel up, and I try to turn out and I'm trying to get out this guy's way. And within those 3 or 4 seconds before he's going to impact me, I'm turning, I commit my weight, he's right on me, I can't turn out the way.
Can you hear him?
Oh no, right there. Well, I mean, you can see him, and you can hear him. You've got earplugs in, your bike's loud, but you can hear him now that you know he's there. And I turned, committed the weight, he's right there, and I'm like, this guy's going to flatten me, and I dived off the bike, and he just went, whoa, right over my bike, and just
over the bike,
completely destroyed the bike. Yeah.
And then what? Well,
it was...
You, like...
I tell you what, man, there was a lot of words going through my mind that are not in the Bible, but it was just it was a tough thing. And he stopped about 30 meters up, and the navigator stood out the car and he gave me like a thumbs up, and I'm on my knees, the dust is clearing, I see this bike and I heard him go over it. I know it's stuffed, and I was like, no,
you want to cry.
Oh man, I wanted to chop him up with a hatchet, but and I was like, no, help me, He got back in the car and just off he went. And so to be there... Do you
know who he is?
No, not even to this day. And I could probably find out because they could check who was there at the same time.
Yeah, but is it worth it, eh?
You see, that's it. For someone like me, I'm there to finish. It's like if your kid gets bitten by a snake. Did you go and chase the snake, or did you go and save your kid? I'm in the situation where I've just got to finish Dakar. If this guy gets a penalty or not, if this guy gets suspended, it won't affect my outcome. It's not going to affect my life one bit, what happens to this guy. So for me, I was just like, what am I going to do? How do I get this? And he'd ruptured my tanks. I had just a couple liters left in the one tank. The next place I could maybe get petrol is 60 k's away at the next checkpoint, 660 k's to still ride. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to, I phoned my wife actually on the sat phone, and she just cried. We just paid all this price to get there and stuff. And for me, I'm very tough, so I didn't cry, but there was a lot of fish, so it was, my eyes were watering. Okay.
And you had sand stuck in the eye, that was why they were watering.
Allergies, but it was tough, and we both stood there just crying, thousands of miles away from each other. And I hung up the phone, and I was like, man, I've got to try to do something. And I just decided, when that sweeper truck got to me, I'm not going to be sitting under some tree waiting for it. I'm going to go as far as I can. And I took the exhaust off, I disconnected the tanks that were damaged. I didn't have a right foot peg. I had to take stuff off the tower so the bars would turn. And I got the bike working. And I rode on I didn't have my ICO wasn't working, so I couldn't tell you how far, but if I had to guess, that's your distance meter. It's like an odometer that you can adjust. And
your navigation from now, you've got that...
No, navigation was all messed up.
So you destroyed. You're basically following tracks of somebody, hoping it goes in the right way.
Exactly that. And I rode along these tracks.
In a screwed up bike?
Yeah, on a screwed up, without a right foot peg. So I got a knee on the seat, a foot on the foot peg, no exhaust. The bike's as loud and crazy as anything. And I couldn't ride in the track anymore now like that, because it was really just, I couldn't get in and out the track. It was so slow. So I'm zigzagging through the bush, following and waiting for a truck. A truck would come past, or a car. I'd watch him in the distance as far as I could, and I'd aim for that point on the horizon. And I just did that for these next 15 or 20 Ks. And then I found another bike. I found a bike of a guy.
What, just lurking in the...
Just sitting right there in the middle of Argentina. And the guy had broken his arms. He'd been taken out on the chopper. The bike was sitting there, and with the help of 3 local Argentinian guys on old dirt bikes, we stripped the foot peg cradle, we stripped the exhaust, we siphoned all the petrol out of that bike. We got my bike, we got my bike working again, and then I rode through the night and came through at 11 minutes past 2 the next morning. Slept for an hour, raced the last day and finished. But it was one of the most craziest, ridiculous, fantastic things that's ever happened to me.
You know, just listening to that epic story, you now spent, and you're not just a normal guy. There's a story behind the story, and I just want to say again, and I've got these goosies and something stuck in my eye, but where can people get your book?
Yeah, you can get it at all the KTM dealerships, as well as the exclusive books, and as well as at any bookstores, and on my website, which is joeyevans.co.za.
joeyevans.co.za. Exclusive KTM dealers?
Yep. And then
So
all the other bookshops.
what's the tie between KTM and Husqvarna?
Husqvarna's and KTM, I mean, it's all pretty much, you know, a lot of it's all the same. You know, at Dakar, they're just different colors, the bikes, to be honest, but it's all the same bike in a way. But obviously, it's two separate companies. They're both moving in different directions, both fantastic brands. And the nice thing is, you've got two brands that are sharing a lot of development and R&D work and stuff. And so Husqvarna is going in an awesome direction, and KTM's going in an awesome direction. And now we'll see, I think, more of a drift between the two as they go along. But because all the R&D's together, they're both fantastic motorcycles.
Joey, let's just flip back into the race and this year's race. We've got a bunch of South Africans, David Thomas, Donovan van Lachenberg, Willem de Tooy, Jerry van der Bijl, these guys doing it. Again, my admiration for guys who have a dream and a passion, and they put together a bit of money, they train, and they go and do it.
Yeah.
We had a question earlier about cars and budget and that sort of thing. What does it actually cost to go and do Dakar?
And for me, you know, I can say what it cost me. It cost me 1.1 million rand without the bike, and the bike's about 600k as it needs to be on the start line. So that gives you an idea. So it's a lot of bucks. But all those guys have done lots of different things to raise money, or to you know, use a lot of their own money and things. You know, for me, we raised that 1.1 million rand in 6 months, and it was the help with friends and family and fellow bikers. And I can tell you for myself, I had so much support that I could never ever have achieved a goal like finishing the Dakar Rally without the help that I got. For me, the help was everything.
And you didn't do it Malimoto or Motul Originals.
Yeah.
You went with a team.
Yeah, I was with the Bash Trucks team, Van der Velden Racing, Bash Trucks, same guys. And
Now Bass,
yeah,
two of our guys are on that team.
that's right. Yeah, Willem and Jerry.
Yeah.
And
you know these guys.
Yeah, I know, and they're all good
to
guys.
me, I
Their names.
know a little bit about cars.
For sure. Well, I'll tell you a little bit. We've got 4 guys, and they've all got really incredible stories. David Thomas, he raced last year. He broke his leg in like 9 places or something. I helped to put him in the helicopter and stuff. He went out.
That
on
must be
day
heartbreaking
5.
to see your mate, eh?
It's heartbreaking, and it's terrible. You load this guy who's broken mess. He was in so much pain that even the video doesn't show the pain the guy's in.
And what goes through your mind? Like,
yeah, then you got to get back on your bike.
It could be you.
Yeah, then you put him in the helicopter. You get back on your bike, and off you go at 140.
But hold on,
you know,
you didn't
it's
just
crazy.
Put him in the chopper, get on your bike.
Yeah.
There's a sticker.
Yeah, that's right. He had a little sticker on his bike which had his brother's name, and his brother had been killed in a car accident years earlier. And he said to me, you know, please take the sticker and take it across the finish. You know, and it was a very emotional situation. And I took the sticker, and it was pretty special that here this guy is, shattered leg, getting loaded in a helicopter, and he's thinking about the sticker of his brother, you know. But I took the sticker and I took it to the end, which to be able to do that was fantastic. But obviously the big story here is that guy who was loading into a chopper last year, he's now currently sitting on day 9 or 10, wherever we are now, and he's
45th overall.
That's right, and he's racing to finish. Now, how cool is it going to be in a couple of days when we show the video of him getting loaded into a chopper next to a video of him crossing the finish line? That's pretty special. So that's David Thomas.
And that feeling on the podium in Buenos Aires last year. Okay, this year not, but it's how much did that really get to you? That emotional release of
oh man,
a year of crap that you went through.
A lot more than a year, 10 years for me, but it was incredible. For me, the best moment.
You had to, Joey's book is called From Para to Dakar. We're not going to tell the whole story, but you're just not a normal guy who had a dream one day, and you had a dream you wanted to go in Dakar, but
for sure,
in between you got broken up, you couldn't walk, and really, the book.
Yeah.
So you got to the end.
Yeah.
What's that really feel like as a competitor?
Man, it is just incredible. It really is incredible to cross that finish line. Was everything you could have ever hoped. For me, even better than that was walking in the airport when I came home, and to have my wife and my kids and all my buddies and stuff just, you know, kind of chanting your name as you walk through the doors. And that for me was my finish line. And so that really was a special day.
Would you do it again?
No, well, we've got a clause between me and my wife. So the deal is no, we don't do it again. But if it ever came to Southern Africa, then we have a little footnote that if it's on home turf.
So you put a clause with your
exactly,
get out of.
That's it. So if it comes to Southern Africa and I'm still young enough to race it, then we've got to do one more. Yeah.
Joey, again, production are whining about the time. Our scriptwriters are a bit of a problem, but executive producers giving us a little bit
I can
more.
tell you just a quick one.
Yeah.
Just about the other guys, I've got to tell you just a quick bit. You've got Willem de Tooy, guy from Uppington, loves the sand. The guy is as tough as nails. He's really a top rider. He won his entry to Dakar by winning the Dakar Challenge.
Yeah.
And so he's quite a special
rider. Was
rider.
that on the Toyota Desert 1000?
No, it was on the Amageza Rally that year.
Okay, yeah.
And so he's a fantastic racer. Then you've got Donovan. Donovan is he's a tough guy. He's doing the Malimoto or the Moto Originals, and he's doing really well. He's doing incredibly well right now. And then you've got Jerry van der Bijl. Jerry van der Bijl has raced a few Amageza rallies, and he's a really tough guy, but he's a guy that he's not one of the top South African riders. You know, he's just a guy. He's 50 years old. And he's a guy who's got a dream to go and race this ragga. Exactly, that was my point. And he's got a dream to race the Dakar. It's been a dream for years and years. He went to South America and followed it about 3 years ago or so. And he just decided, I'm going to do this. And is one of those guys chasing his dream. He's currently lying stone last, but he's currently in and he's fighting. And I'm telling you now, he's going to cross that finish line. So watch out for all 4 of our guys.
The bit that when you say stone last, he is 98th overall in the bikes. He is 52 hours behind the leaders, and there's 16 hours of penalties. But these penalties are not for doing something really wrong. You might get a penalty for missing a waypoint or coming in
that's it.
late at night.
Yeah, and also they have different sections where they can't, for instance, if there's flooding and it degrades so much, the front guys get through, the back guys can't get through because it's degraded or the heat has now hit 50 degrees or whatever, and they can't let guys in. Then they'll take you around it, but you pay a penalty for that, so it's not too, so it works out fair, if that makes sense. So, but he's riding the whole thing, and he's getting through, and he'll be on that finish line. I honestly believe all 4 of those guys are going to finish. They're all proper guys. They all know the deal. They're all tough oaks. They're proper racers, and I think we're going to have 4 out of 4 South African riders cross this year, which will be incredible.
Absolutely
incredible.
Amazing.
The most guys that have ever finished one Dakar from South Africa on the bikes.
You know, so we got 4 bikes, 4 bikers finishing, and from a car point of view, you probably had 35 to 38% of the starters of the cars were designed and built in South Africa. There's a huge. South Africa's got a huge influence on it, and when you were there last year, just talk to me about some of those major, the darkest and the brightest moments that you had, where you had to really dig deep, and those parts that just carried you forward like little hands on a cloud.
No, that's it. You know, one of the things that are just fantastic is the South American people. They're incredible. How's
your Spanish?
0. I can say agua sin gas, which means water without gas, and that's about all I got. But you travel through South America and you have these guys just sitting on the side of the road. They're braaiing, they're watching the race go past, that kind of stuff. And on a liaison, some of the riders would stop at the petrol stations and they'd obviously buy some water and fill up their camelbacks and buy a bite to eat. And something that I did, because I knew I was there once and I wanted to take it all in. And I would just stop at these families on the side of the road. And you stop at a bunch of guys braaiing or a family braaiing, and they are just stoked that you stopped by them. And they all take photos with you, and they shove meat in your hand, and they give you sandwiches and chips and cold drinks. And on my budget, that was fantastic as well. So it was, and you just eat and you spend 15 minutes with these guys instead of at the petrol station, and you fill up everything, and you're all sorted, and it's it's like a whole carnival atmosphere, and you go. And that really was some of the beautiful moments. Coming into La Paz on the rest day, 60 kilometers of fans lined those streets.
And how's that drop
Ks.
into La Paz, that twisty bit there?
It blows your mind. You see it on TV, and you see it at the Tour de France, where the crowd kind of peels away as the cyclist comes through. And suddenly you're there. You're that guy, and the flags are going, and it's incredible. And so there were those things. But then there's the other side of it. And the dark side, you hear about the guys dying at Dakar. But the guys that die at Dakar are the small, tiny percent. But the guys that go home with horrendous injuries is a lot, especially in bikes and quads. So out of the guys that go home, the majority are going home with horrendous injuries, like horrendous stuff that's going to take them years to recover, or big operations and stuff. And I wasn't prepared for that. I knew it was tough. I've seen guys get injured before in racing.
When you say you weren't prepared for the mental
Emotionally.
emotional impact of seeing another guy bashed up?
It's more than mental. It's just like you
because
see
you
guys,
got bashed up before.
Yes, exactly.
And
also,
you know what some of these guys
know what
might
the guys
be
are going to have to go through. But it's also a case of that guy lying there has the same dream as you. He is doing the same goal as you. He is doing the same dream as you. And there he is, broken.
And you can't help him.
And there's nothing you can... And he's out the race. And you know it's over. And the guy's in pain. And the tears are streaming because of the pain. And also because of the anguish
disappointment.
of... It's not just a race. He misses the race, come back next year. Some of these guys do everything they can to get there once. It's like one chance, that one bash at this. And so to go out is... It's horrendous on those levels. And to see these guys every day with horrendous injuries and guys getting taken away in choppers and stuff, I can understand. I mean, I can't, but you get a glimpse of what it's like to be in war, you know, where you see the stuff, but you got to keep going, keep moving that line forward, keep going to the next trench in a way. And it's just, you have to just keep going no matter what's happening around you. And you just decide, we're going to the end no matter what. But that was hard on an emotional and mental level. It was just, it just wasn't lacquer, you know.
And in general, your bike, I mean, KTM is probably the most successful bike in the history of the world.
Yeah, except not probably, it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I just
want to clear that up.
Know,
no, it's
fine.
Right,
okay.
Look, you make mistakes. I mean, you're a seasoned veteran at this, but you make mistakes, you know.
No, well, hey, but you just like, my mind has gone where I've gone. In the how much maintenance did you actually have to do on the bike?
Yeah.
I mean, apart from the stuff that where you maybe
crashed or whatever, yeah.
I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It happens. It happens a lot with bikers, especially me apparently. But every night they do like oil change on the bike. They do obviously chain and air
and
filters
Motul
and
now
all
got
stuff.
that analysis thing where they put it through their lab and they can say, hey, listen, you're getting close to needing a new motor.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay, that's news. I didn't know that, but that's fantastic. But yeah, so every night you do all the basic stuff. But it's a case of with Dakar on the bikes, it's not if you crash. It's when you and you will crash almost every day. It's going to happen because you're going to drop your bike in the dunes, especially in dunes. You know, you drop.
How
hit
sore is it when you? I mean, we see pictures of it and the guy jumps up, kink, onto the bike again.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a little bit.
No, because he's in front of the camera. If he was on his own, the guy's lying there going, you know. But no, you have a lot of little bobbles off the bike. But the big ones, you know, when you hit sand hard, like if you go off those dunes where you misjudge it. Oh,
in the beginning, and he landed flat.
And can I tell you, it is so easy to do that because you get blind. So he would have been riding along. I mean, I don't know, but he would have been riding along. You see this track, and obviously goes down the dune and carries on. But because you almost get like snow blind, it would have looked like that track went straight. And so you're going along and suddenly there's nothing underneath you. And it really is incredibly difficult.
What do you do
to
then?
See. Well, in his situation, he did everything right. You'll see what he did is he pushed the back wheel down
How do you do that?
Got on the gas, so you pull the bars towards you, you straighten up your legs, you want to land back wheel, front wheel, and you want to be on the gas to try to turn as much of that downward force into forward force, and he did everything right. But when he's coming off 12 meters or whatever it was, you can do everything right, you tick all the boxes. If he didn't do that, he could have died. So the fact that he's alive, it's like, well played, brother.
You know what, I can sit and talk. When we spoke in our production meeting before the time with the executive producers.
That's right, in the big building. And,
in the office, production office. I could sit and talk to you for a long time, but we've got to respect the time of our lunch people, and Gary's got some questions. And one of the things that you know, I think we need to come back and address some of the, just talk again.
Yeah.
Because you've opened up a whole new part of Dakar for me. I mean, I knew the bikes were there, and sometimes we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
But now I do know what I don't know, and I suddenly realize I know nothing about bikes, and I'd love to start learning more about them. I mean, we sat and listened to the briefing on Mark Homer every night, and the guy's a legend in bikes, and Stephen Peter Hansel on the bikes, and you actually are a legend. Yes,
not in that category, but yeah, I got you.
You're a legend. You've done stuff, and I just want to say, Joey, thank you very, very much for sparing us the time.
No,
it's
thank
been
you.
I'm trying to
there we go.
hanging there.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much for your time. But I haven't got my glasses on.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, we got
some questions.
Yeah, no, there's this is a couple of guys just making comments online and stuff, like Ted. You know, Ted did it on quite a couple of years ago, and he's very knowledgeable in this stuff, so it's good to hear from him. And you know, Sparky Bright, you know, he's getting his eyes watering in the PE win there, which is cool. And so yeah, we got some you know, Ryan van der Spey saying how's it and stuff. So yeah, a bunch of guys saying how's it, and that's fantastic. We really appreciate, you know, all the support.
I think what we need to do is have a few counselling sessions with your wife.
Sheesh.
And get you back there. But
I would love to be involved in such a big corporation as your guys and this massive production company. It would be absolutely incredible to be involved in such a conglomerate, you know, of media and things.
Joey, we'd love for you to guest for us again, and really appreciate your time. It's been awesome. And on that note, brings us to the end of Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow for stage 13. We'll have some more news out of South America. Zoey Evans, get his book. It's freaking awesome. I've just looked at the pictures. I don't read a whole lot. It's been awesome. Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thank you.